understanding why you're doing this, what you're actually designing, and who that audience, the right audience for that, and then tying that messaging piece into it is a really important factor in order for you to help grow your business this year and to get more exposure.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, episode number 74. I am so excited. This is the first Tuesday in January. It's January 3rd, and it's 2017. I can't believe it. It's just been over a year that we started the Thrive by Design podcast, and I can't believe we're already up to episode number 74. But this has been such a labor of love and so much fun for me to bring the podcast to you every week. And I don't know, for those of you who have been following Flourish and Thrive for a while, you know that I used to do video blogs every week. And I love doing that too, and I actually kind of miss being on camera and showing my face to you. But there's something really special about the podcast that I think is amazing, especially because I'm able to give so much more in a short format. I think that there's only so much time that people can sit and watch a video, but you can listen to the podcast while you're working and getting things done or driving or walking around a city. And I just have loved creating it. It's been my favorite thing that I've been doing all of 2016 and is my favorite thing that moving into 2017. So I'm really, really thrilled to be here. And I wanted to thank you so much because I really believe in coming from a place of gratitude. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this every week because it means the world to me that this is giving you value. I've heard from a lot of you telling me how much you've loved our podcast, and it brings me so much joy, and that's the whole reason why I do this in the first place. And I hope that in any case, this is really helping you with your business and helping you think outside the box a little bit better and bringing you a lot of value in your everyday life. So big gratitude. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that we have a great year together in 2017, listening to the podcast and also in business, because that is my favorite thing. I don't know what happened. I'm like an entrepreneur at heart. I love talking about business. I'm so grateful that I've had this opportunity to be an entrepreneur for over 20 years and to do that entrepreneurship in the jewelry industry because I'm so passionate about jewelry. I'm so passionate about design. I'm really, really passionate, if you can't tell, about helping people. And it's exciting for me to be able to be here and to be able to have built a couple of businesses and then share my experience with you guys to help you grow. So thank you for listening. It means the world to me. And today I have a very special episode because I'm going to tell you or talk to you a little bit more about how to make more, how to sell more, and how to get noticed this year. And I wanted to bring this topic up at the beginning of the year because I know that, at least for me energetically, the beginning of the year is a great time to reset, recharge, start over, and set a new course and roadmap for what's to come for the entire year. Now, I was talking with a friend the other day, my friend Kate, and she reminded me that this new year, 2017, is a 1 year in numerology. And numerology, if you follow it at all, goes from 1 through 9 years. I was born in an 8 year, which is not surprising to me. That's the year of the phoenix of reinvention, I guess. But 1 years are all about starting new. And it's really exciting because this is an amazing opportunity for us in this time and space to start over and really have this opportunity. It will be the first opportunity in the next 9 years to have that same kind of fresh start through the numerology cycle. So Kate, thanks for reminding me of that. That's really exciting. And with that being said, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about some of the fresh starts that we have coming up over here at Flourish and Thrive. So Robin and I are really excited because we try our best to bring a lot of free content and free training and free challenges and boot camps to you guys. And we had so much fun in our Amplify Your Sales boot camp that we couldn't help but decide to do another boot camp for the beginning of the year to help you get on the right foot. And it's all about how you can make more, sell more, and get noticed more in 2017. It's called the Jewelry Brand Makeover Boot Camp. I'm really excited for this combo training / boot camp that we're setting up. It starts January 9th So today's January 3rd, if you're listening to this when the boot camp launches, but it starts January 9th is a 10-day boot camp that is designed to help you thinking about your business in a different way, with a fresh start, fresh branding, with new eyes, so that you can really elevate and get to your level of success in 2017. And that's what that's all about. So I want to talk a little bit about that before I sort of dive into the content today, because success means something so differently to everyone. I tell this story a lot, and you might have heard it before, but I'm going to tell it again right now, is that when I started out in my first business, my vision of success was so different than it is now. What mattered to me then was so different than what matters now. And I wanted to highlight that because everyone has a different idea of what success looks like. For some people, it might look like having a flexible schedule so that they can play around with their friends in the middle of the day, or pick their kids up from school, or to be able to be a stay-home mom during day hours if they have young children, but also still be able to bring in some income for the family. For me right now, like my main driver in business, my main motivation, my main indicator of success is to earn full-time income from my businesses while having the flexibility to travel and see my family, or travel to places around the world. I've always had this wanderlust, and I've always been someone who loves to travel. And when I had my wholesale jewelry business, I didn't set it up in the right way in the beginning. I was able to do this later in the years further down the road in my business, because I learned my lesson. But I was very tied to the business. I was tied to a show cycle. I was very tied to a production cycle. I was very tied to having to be in my office physically to manage a team. And I knew that when I had the opportunity to start over, that I loved that experience. It was a great experience, but my life was changing, and I was getting older, and I wanted something different for my life in the next decade. And that's why, there's so many reasons, but that's one of the reasons why I chose to go into a custom high-end jewelry business model and take the risk of not having tons of clients all the time like I did in my other business, but being able to have it be more manageable and offer excellent service and develop this cycle of repeat business. So as I'm recording this, I have to record these episodes obviously a little bit earlier than we actually are releasing them, so that we have time to edit and get them on iTunes and everything. But it's a couple, about less than 2 weeks before Christmas, and I had one of my best customers send me an email yesterday during the middle of the video shoot that I'm doing for boot camp, saying, hey, SOS, I need a gift for Joy, my wife, and he's a really good customer of mine. He purchases several pieces or sets of jewelry for his wife every single year. And my product, as you guys know, you've heard me talk about it, is not inexpensive. So I really, really value his loyalty to my brand, and his wife loves what I do. So that's really, really exciting for me. And I'm like, oh gosh, I really want to say no to him, because it's going to put so much extra stress on my production team. But I know that if I can jump through hoops for him, he's going to be a customer for life. So with that being said, one of the choices that I made was I wanted to really deliver exceptional service for people, so that cycle of getting clients and referrals and repeat business became a lot easier. And that's what I really want to teach you how to do in this boot camp, which is really exciting. So I hope you'll join us. You can check it out over at flourishthriveacademy.com/makeover. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/makeover. And you can also check out the links. I'll have all the links that I mentioned in today's episodes over on our show notes. You can check that out over at flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 74. All right, before we dive in, I want to ask you a few questions, because this is really important. And you can raise your hand. I think you should, while you're doing this. If this sounds like you, I want you to raise your hand, because I would raise my hand to every single one of these things that I'm about to ask you. Are you someone who's ready to start attracting your dream clients and raving fans? Those clients and raving fans who want to buy everything that you do and then tell their friends about it? I'm raising my hand right now. I don't know about you. I wish this was video right now, because it would be perfect, but it's not. It's just audio, but that's okay. Are you ready to hurdle over self-doubt and insecurities so you can make more money, get noticed, and fall back in crazy love with your jewelry business again? I'm raising my hand because I had a stressful couple of months in my business, and I was like, considering maybe throwing in the towel, but I love it too much. I couldn't do it. But I had to work with those self-doubts and insecurities when I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this right kind of thing. Because it happens to all of us like over and over again throughout our careers. And then I'm raising my hand for this next one already because I love this one the most. Are you ready to create or cultivate a crave-worthy brand that creates emotional connections with your ideal clients and accounts? After all, people don't want to buy jewelry because they need it. They want to buy jewelry because they want it. And I think that is something that we all need to remember. People love buying jewelry because of how it makes them feel. So that emotional connection and that emotional piece is really important. So regardless if you're just starting out and feeling overwhelmed by all the choices you have to make about branding, sales avenues, and maybe creating your first collection, or if you're someone who has a business already and you know that your jewelry is really good, but your sales are only really to family and friends at this point, and you're really ready to get more exposure, or if you've got a bit of momentum and PR and you're making some sales here and there, but no matter how much time you spend, on social media and marketing, that effort just really isn't translating into consistent sales. I know that sometimes can be a struggle for people. Or maybe you're someone where your business is already doing well, but you're having difficulty sort of reaching those bigger immediate opportunities. So these are common phases that we all would go through in business as we grow. We're starting out, we don't know where to go. Then, we're kind of starting to sell to friends and family, and then that evolves to something bigger, but we're not maybe getting quite the exposure that we want, and we're stuck. And then we get to that next level where we've gotten the exposure, we have consistent sales, and then it's time for the big time or bigger opportunities. So there's always going to be something, right? And this is a great opportunity because if you are someone who is dedicated to personal growth in business and in life, these are really important things to remember. I hear a lot of people say oh, the money doesn't matter to me, or blah, 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 blah. Or, they kind of get stuck in their self-doubt, feeling that they can't really have a successful business in the jewelry industry. And I wanted to talk to that a little bit before I dive into the content today, because this is a really powerful thing. I've heard so many designers not really be, and makers too, be willing to, invest in the process of growing their business, or invest in the time commitment of growing their business, because they're really stuck and hardwired into these insecurities that they have, or beliefs, deep rooted beliefs that they don't even know that they have, that they aren't good enough, or it's not possible for them. And what I want to tell you is that it can be possible for anyone, any of you who really want to be successful and get to that next level wherever you are in business. Because if you're someone, like I said, who's dedicated to personal growth and development, you're going to be someone who's always wanting to get better in your business, in your life, in your job. And I hope those are the kind of people who are listening to me today, because and that you are one of those people, because this is a really powerful, and maybe even a little bit esoteric concept that has really helped me grow from someone who was terrified to quit their day job back in the 90s. I didn't quit my job for 3 years. I should have quit my job 3 years earlier, and I didn't, because I was terrified about not having steady income. But when I put my mind to it, it came really quickly, and I've never looked back. And I can never even imagine working for someone else anymore, because the satisfaction that I get having my own business and being able to build my dream is bar none the best experience of my life, and what makes all this that I'm doing for you guys here worth it. So let's talk about how to make more, how to sell more, and get noticed in 2017. Let's do it, guys. All right, so the first thing that you really need to consider is how you are going to create an emotional connection with your brand. That's what it's about these days, you guys. You see those Instagram influencers, you see those people building these crazy followings all over social media, all over their website. They're getting celebrity placements and all that stuff. It's because, and they're getting sales, which I think is the more important thing. It's because they're creating an emotional connection with their brand. And that's exactly what I've done for Liam. So my client who reached out just a couple days ago that I was telling you about before, you've probably heard me talk about him a lot, because he is one of my best clients that I've ever had. I've never had someone order so much repeat business. I have really good customers who order a couple times a year, like my customer Amy, who's already ordered 5 pieces from me in the last 3 years, which is an investment. She has a lot of choices and she chooses to work with me. But people like Amy and Liam, the cool part about them is that they're tied into the experience. And their reasoning for tying into that experience or emotional connection is very different. Liam likes to work with me because, number one, I make his life easy. He doesn't have to think or go send his assistant to get a crappy gift for his wife, which I've heard has happened in the past. And he gets brownie points when he gets home because he gets her something that she loves, and she loves jewelry. So for him, it's for him as my customer, right? There's an emotional connection for him because his life is better at home because he's getting his wife something that she loves. For her, it's important because she feels like she has something that no one else has, because she told me specifically, because I was showing her some things that I could reproduce. I'm like, well, what about if we did something like this? And she's like, really, I want something special for myself. I don't really want anyone else to have it. And they were actually on a vacation in St. Martin or St. John. They go on to holiday every year. I think a couple years ago, and I met up with Joy to go grab a drink and drop off a piece of jewelry and measure her wrist for something else we were doing. And she had referred a client to me. And she said to me, I secretly don't want you to create that piece for this person because I want it to be my own. And that's a lot. That was crazy, a lot of insight, which is great because it gave me an opportunity to offer and suggest this other client that she referred to me something else. So creating that emotional experience creates this referral network that is beyond what and expansive of what, and a connection with your brand that's beyond what you even think it is. So that emotional connection is really important. And some obvious examples are brands like Tiffany or Cartier, where people don't care about having the same thing as everyone else because they want that experience or the promise that Cartier or Tiffany is bringing. And it's something so much bigger than just the jewelry. So think about it that way. And you want to learn how to communicate clearly and concisely about what you do, and make sure that when you're doing that or creating this communication, whether it be on your social media, whether it be out of your mouth or whatever, that it's connecting with the right people. That's a really important piece of the puzzle. Understanding, why you're doing this, what you're actually designing, and who that audience, the right audience for that, and then tying that messaging piece into it is a really important factor in order for you to help grow your business this year and to get more exposure. Because when that messaging is spot on and you can really communicate what your origin story is and why you're doing this and the deeper meaning about why it matters to your customers, all that stuff goes exponentially crazy for your exposure and your brand and to get you to that next level. So think about it that way. Think about how you're communicating. Are you doing it clearly? Can you easily talk about what you do? And can you easily write about what you do? And can you easily take pictures and photography and things that express that image? That's really important. So think about that. And how is that all tying in to your brand voice, which is the next step here really is how can you establish a brand voice that is holistic and ties in your signature style, the way you design, all of your messaging and your visual imagery that you use. So there's so much. We were creating a bunch of video. We've been creating tons of videos in the last month for the new year and for our jewelry brand makeover boot camp. I feel like I'm talking so fast right now. I have a tendency to talk fast. And, I really wanted to feature some designers who'd had success with our programs in the videos, not only from, a case study perspective, but more just feature their work because I think it's really important. And so I pulled in a request in our Diamond Insiders Club, which is our membership community. And I said, hey guys, you're a top priority for us. And I wanted to feature some of you. So I'd love to see some of your maker videos. And if you're willing, I would love to feature some of your footage in our, brand's jewelry brand makeover series. And I got a bunch of people sharing their footage with me, and it was so amazing to watch all these different maker videos because I've had an opportunity to watch several of them, in particular our mastermind designers, but I haven't always had the opportunity to sit down and watch all of them because, time, there's only so much time in the day, I guess is the best way to put it. But it was so inspiring for me to see how each of these designers were telling a completely different story that related to their brand, and it was very, very incredible to see how they were painting a story and how their brand voice was interpreted into the music that they chose, the way they cut the footage on the video, the imagery that they chose, the shots that they chose, the words that they used in their voiceover. So it was pretty incredible and exciting for me to watch that because it just showed these people have, gotten this idea. They're nailing down their brand voice. They're nailing down their messaging. They're nailing down the imagery. They're tying what they stand for as a brand together to really make themselves stand out as a brand and create this holistic brand voice that is really connected to what they do, to who they are selling to why they're doing it, and to why it matters to their customers too. So super cool ideas here. And we're going to cover this way more in depth in our Jewelry Brand Makeover Bootcamp. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure that you click the link in the show notes and join us. I'll mention it again at the end of the podcast. And then finally, I think this is one of the most important things, because I know one of the main struggles and areas of anxiety I'm going to use for a lot of the designers in our community and in general who are selling jewelry and creating something that's very personal and bringing their art into the world, is that they have this really deep-seated fear of sales, and they have a really difficult time talking about what they do or selling their work because it feels salesy or cheesy, right? And it's uncomfortable. People, they feel like, oh my gosh, if I do this, people are going to think this, and I'm going to sound like an idiot, and this is going to be, and then I'm going to want to go hide back into my little rabbit hole and hide from the world and not let my beautiful jewelry be seen by anyone, because I don't know how to talk about what I do and share what I do in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm pitching my product. So that is like the key to making more, selling more, and getting more exposure, is learning how to confidently, with a very concise elevator pitch or messaging. It can happen in many different ways. It doesn't have to be word for word, but learning about how to talk about your work in a way that flows naturally as an extension of you, who you are as a brand, and in a way that allows you to segue into a sales process just by sharing what you do. Now, I've shared this story many, many times. I was at a brunch with my friend Laura. It was her birthday this last weekend. And Laura is like one of those amazing people who is a crazy connector. She knows how to connect people. In fact, she on the side was joking around that she should have a matchmaking service. And she's connected a couple of people who ended up getting married later on. And one of those people was this guy, Justin. Let me go back to the brunch a little bit. So she had this brunch, and it turns out there's another girl at the table who is obsessed with jewelry. So I went and talked to her for just a few minutes. I was sitting across the table, but we exchanged information, and it was opportunity for me to potentially design for her. As Laura has in some random roundabout ways brought me a ton of business, because she is really a super connector. And so long story short, Laura had a dinner party. She loves these dinner parties and brunches and connecting people who don't know each other. A couple of years ago, and I sat down, I was one of the first people there. I sat across the table from Laura. So as the table was filling up, seats were filling up in one side, and then on the other side of me was still an open seat. So one of the people who was running really late was this guy, Justin, who ended up sitting next to me. And Justin was the boyfriend of another woman that I knew, Lauren, and I'd never met Justin before. And Justin I didn't put two and two together when we started talking. We started talking, he's like, what do you do? And, I started telling him, showing my website, and he's like, we need to talk. And I was like, why? He's like, well, I'm thinking about proposing to my girlfriend. I'm actually already finding the stone. And I was like, well, we need to talk. So it was this conversation that was just a natural extension of me feeling comfortable about how to talk about my work and turn that into a sales conversation. And it was really simple. It was nothing more than all right, well, here's the next steps. I'm going to email you tomorrow. Let's get on the phone and talk about this. And he was fully dedicated to it. He loved, working together, and it was a great experience. And he was super all in. And we even did a little ninja behind the scenes stuff to make sure that we were going in the right design direction, which was a great opportunity for me to get to know his girlfriend at the time better, who's now his wife, and design a perfect piece under the radar where she was totally surprised, totally blown out of the water when she received it. She loved it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can really sell more just by learning how to confidently talk about what you do in a way that's not pitchy. And I'm going to give you one more example. So it's holiday season here in New York City and everywhere in the world. I mean, when you're listening to this, the holidays are going to be over, but there's a lot of these outdoor markets. They set them up in Union Square, in Central Park, in Bryant Park, all over the city. And then there's artisanal in Brooklyn and in the Chelsea market. So there's all these trunk shows, and I'm sure some of you have probably participated in trunk shows like this or that last for a long time, or opportunities where you're doing a show and you're selling directly to a consumer. And I was walking around the Union. I work out at a gym that's by Union Square on Fridays and Saturdays. And I walked through on Saturday, which was a little claustrophobic because there were so many people there. And I walked up to a couple of the jewelry booths. I was just trying to, get a sense of the kind of brands that were selling, and amazing jewelry in all these booths. And, I walked up to a couple people, and a few people, their opening line was telling me the price. And I'm sorry, but that is my least favorite, or telling me what the materials are made of. Unless it's something really interesting, it's like the worst opening line for sales. And that, to me, shows that someone is not necessarily as confident about talking about the process and engaging a client. And, no harm, no foul if that's something that you've done or you do. But what I'm telling you is that if you want to start getting, increasing your confidence muscles as the primary salesperson of your brand, you need to learn how to engage a customer on the front end without selling them or assuming it. What it ends up doing is turning them off and getting them confused. So what you want to do is engage them in a conversation. And it could start with something as simple as hello, or complimenting them on something that they wear, instead of first and foremost telling them the price. Because price might not be an object. I know in New York City, in most cases, a lot of cases, price is not an object as much as it might be other places. And if that's someone's opening line, that's dumb. New York's a very expensive city to live in. It's, while not people are on a budget here, I'm certainly one of those people, but at the end of the day, that's not going to be my key deciding factor whether or not I'm going to purchase a piece of jewelry. I'm going to purchase it first because I like it, or I'm connected to it. That's the first and foremost. So I'd rather hear more information about the designer or the product so that I can buy into the brand, as opposed to how much it costs. I think it's the number one worst sales technique ever is to tell someone what the materials are and how much it costs as your opening line, talking in a sales conversation. Bad idea. So with that being said, I'm going to end it here. So I just want you to make sure that you are setting yourself up for these great experiences, and you're really creating moments for your clients by developing that emotional connection, by learning how to communicate clearly what you do, by establishing your brand voice as it ties to all the assets of your brand, and being able to confidently talk about and share what you do and turn those conversations into sales. So, and this is all part of being part of people's moments in their lives, which is what I'm going to talk about on the next episode. So I hope you'll join me for episode 74. But first, you've heard me talking a lot about the Jewelry Brand Makeover Bootcamp. I really want to encourage all of you to join me. It's going to be sick and insane. It's only 10 days. We have a 3-part series that is going to walk you through the boot camp, and it's all about whipping your business into shape, setting you up so that you can make more sales, so that you can get more exposure this year, and so that you can have more time to do the things you love, like making jewelry, right? Make more, sell more, and get noticed this year. So join us over at flourishthriveacademy.com/makeover. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/makeover. I'm really excited to support you inside the boot camp. It's going to be really insane because Robin and I only really give one-on-one feedback to people in their business if they're part of our Diamond Insiders community or if they are in our mastermind program. So this is an amazing opportunity for you to see what it's like to work with us for completely free. We're going to be in there kicking your butt into shape, and we have a whole team of coaches who are going to be there to support you throughout this boot camp. So we really, really hope that you'll join us. It's going to be insane. There will be daily live trainings in the group to help support you. And we're going to be giving you feedback on homework and feedback on the next steps. And it's going to be really amazing. And it's going to be fun, first and foremost. When we did boot camp this summer, so many huge, ginormous breakthroughs for the designers who participated, and everyone, regardless of how they started, where they started, and what their end results were, got such amazing value. It was really cool. And so the boot camp is 3-part training series, and then we're going to sort of wrap that up with a big masterclass party, which is going to be super fun. We're going to be offering 2 masterclasses on the day of the 18th, which is going to sort of weave all these concepts that we're kind of bringing together in the boot camp and help you really create a plan for your next steps in business. So It's going to be awesome. You're going to have an amazing year if you join us, I promise you. So I hope you'll come on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/makeover and join us for boot camp. All right, you guys, thanks for listening today. It's been awesome to be here. More than anything, wishing you a happy new year and wishing you the best for health and wellness and well-being and happiness for this year. And more importantly, business success, because that's what we're all here about. All right, you guys, until next time, this is Tracy signing off.